When I was 21 years old, I received a phone call that no one ever wants to receive. I got the news that one of my closest friends had made the decision to take his life. I didn't have really the words to describe all the emotions that I felt. One thing was for certain was I was angry. I didn't have healthy ways to really deal with the anger and all the emotions, but I had plenty of ways to avoid it. And that's the decision that I made then. If you've ever lost anyone to suicide, then you know that that pain doesn't just go away. It stays with you. And what I want to share in this video is what I learned about grief, what I learned about healing, and what I've learned about being able to live in a way that remembers those that I've lost and honor. So I remember being at work, and the job that I had, I wasn't able to answer my phone, but it was on me, and it was on vibrate, and it was just going off. I mean, consecutive, back to back to back. I knew something was going on. So I started to look at my phone, and I realized that I was getting missed calls from people that I haven't talked to in a few years, people I don't talk to on a daily basis. I started to read some of the text messages, and they were saying things like, "I'm so sorry. Please let me know if you need anything. I'm here. Don't hesitate to reach out." So I knew it was something major. Um, I waited until I got off work and I called my closest friend because that's who I wanted to talk to. And he had asked me if I was sitting down. At the moment, I was walking to my car. I said no. He said, "Okay, well, let me know when you're seated." And he waited until I got to my car and I sat down. And I knew it was not good. But he shared with me what happened, that one of our closest friends had decided to take his life. You know, before you ever get news like this or experience loss on this level for the first time, you might imagine how you might react, what that scene might look like. And so I was expecting to possibly just break down and cry, or um, I don't know exactly, but I know that that's not what happened. I got off the phone and I just sat there, and I was in shock. But the first thing I remember really feeling was anger. I remember being angry at him. I remember how he had helped me just a couple of years before when I was going through my internal battles and depression. How he was one person that walked by my side through that. And I was angry because all I could ask myself is, why wouldn't he follow his own advice? Why wouldn't he listen to the same words that he spoke to me to help me? I thought it was selfish. I was also angry with myself. You know, I felt like I possibly could have reached out to him more frequently. I was angry at God. And I did not know how to handle or deal with any of this. This was the first loss of that magnitude that I had experienced at this point of life. And I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't know how to deal with it. But in the environment that I was in, I had plenty of ways to avoid it. And so I numbed every emotion that I was feeling. And I began to spiral. I've never been a small guy, but I gained a lot of weight, became extremely unhealthy. I started to drink a lot more. I was more willing to say yes, and be open-minded to things that I was standoffish to before. And as I began to indulge in bad habits, bad patterns, and cycles, and unhealthy relationships, I thought that maybe I was avoiding or healing or dealing with, but really I was delaying, because what happens is those emotions, that pain doesn't go away. And if you don't find a healthy way to process it, it's going to show up in nasty ways. And so the deeper I would dive into my habits, my behaviors, um, the more that pain and anger, primarily anger, would grow from the inside. And this showed up in ways that I'm not proud of. I didn't care as much about my friendships. I kept them very surface level, and I stayed pretty numbed out. Um, Drugs, alcohol, while I was at work, before work, after work, for years. And the only thing that I had that was healthy was music. And so I hadn't played for a few years, but I did decide once this happened that I needed to pick that back up. So I had the urge to write, and that's what I did. And wrote songs about the experience and how I was feeling. And a lot of songs came, for 2 or 3 years after that. That looking back, and if I read through them now and listen to them now, there's a lot of anger that came through, and a lot of hiding that came through in those songs. But it was the healthiest outlet that I had at the time. Through all of that, I don't remember sitting down and really talking to anybody about what I was feeling. Um, the music was the only therapeutic thing that I had going on. Grief isn't linear. There's no timeline, and so you might feel like everything's okay, but then if you don't address it, if you're not talking to somebody, it pops up, and you have to face it. You can not face it, but it's going to grow and it's going to impact other areas of your life, which is exactly what happened to me. You have choices. You can spiral, you can run, you can hide, you can numb yourself, or you can find a healthy group, a healthy avenue, maybe someone that you trust, to talk about how you're feeling. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to feel all of those things. It's not okay to isolate and not talk about those things. So as those emotions came through years, I finally learned that not just through music, but through internal work and being able to talk to our other friends in the same friend group, memories and laughter and stories, that was healthy. I found that anger started to fade away. And I started to learn that, there's a different way to go about doing this. Because I knew when I started to laugh and share the good stories and not keep my thoughts inside, that there was a small piece, a small sense of everything's going to be okay. It wasn't big, it wasn't overpowering, but it was definitely present, and I knew that I was onto something when I started to feel some of that for the first time. Something that was real helpful was in the city I lived in. a lot of bands came together and had a benefit concert. And it was about a year after he had passed. And a lot of bands came. They traveled in from out of state. And it was just a night to bring awareness to the importance of, and this is a big deal, people feel lost. People make the decision to take their lives. And sometimes we don't think about it too much because we haven't directly been impacted by it. But when it hits home, you start to think, what could I have done differently? And so that's what this was an event to honor him, but at the same time, bring awareness to the reality of, the heaviness of this topic. And so it was really cool to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in a few years, and in an atmosphere that I haven't been in a few years. And just to see him remembered and honored that night, I knew that it was something that he would be proud of. That was healing. I think it was healing for all of us. So there are healthy ways that you can deal with what's going on the inside that doesn't involve doing damage to yourself or the people that you care about. Another way that you can honor the person that you've lost is to you yourself choose life. Every time you choose healing over numbing, every time you choose connection over substances, you choose life. It's easy to run and hide, isolate. It's hard to open up and get connected initially. But once you feel the comfort, the peace, and the healing that takes place with that, you know that you found the healthier choice. Every time you choose life, you continue the positive side to the story. Because the story is connected. If you spiral, you hurt yourself, you hurt the people around you, then that's not honoring the person you lost. Okay, now your excuse, your reason for destroying yourself, for hurting others, is tied to that. That's not honoring that person. Choose life, choose connection, choose healing. When you do that, you continue a positive end to this story. It doesn't seem like it right away. I know. I wish that I learned this a lot sooner. I wish that I knew this at the time that I lost my friend. I would have avoided myself a lot of hurt, a lot of damage, mentally, emotionally, physically. I would have avoided a lot of damage that I caused the people that I cared about and cared about me. And I would have learned a lot sooner healthy ways of dealing with grief. Because chances are you're going to experience loss again. And when you found a successful way to heal, a healthy way to heal and process with loss, it doesn't make it a lot easier. But when you have the roadmap to what you know works, you get there quicker with a lot less damage. If you've lost a friend to suicide, you're not alone. It's okay to be angry. Being angry doesn't mean you're broken. But don't let that anger shape you. Don't let it trap you. Choose life. Choose the healthier way to deal and heal. Every time you move forward in a positive way, you're bringing hope to yourself and the people around you. Your friend's story, it ended too soon. But that doesn't mean yours has to. Let the pain that you experience, let it teach you. Let it build compassion within you. Let it show you how fragile life is. It's an opportunity to grow and to learn. It's a painful one, but it can save your life if you make the healthy choices. If you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, reach out. Don't sit in those thoughts alone. Call a brother, call a hotline. Reach out to me, subscribe to this group. Find a brotherhood, find a connection, find somebody that you can talk through those thoughts with. Because life's too precious. And we've all had hard moments. Don't be ashamed if you've thought those thoughts. But don't isolate and don't keep them to yourself. I know this was a heavy one, but it felt needed. I woke up this morning and this was on my heart, and it's real. And I can't say that I'm all in on all the topics that I want to touch and mountain in and not touch this. And it just seemed like the right time. So having gone through this all too closely and having come out on this side, healed and restored, I know it's very fresh to some of you, and I hope what I experienced through losing someone to suicide can somehow help you through your journey of healing to do the same.